About 13 years ago, I decided to leave another business I had and develop full-time tourism here. I called the company Tourisme USA, and we started doing very small ads in the back of the New York Times on Sundays. And people would call from all around the United States. And slowly, because I knew archaeologists here in Tunisia, I knew people who were cultural specialists and academics, we were very fortunate to be able to build an ongoing business here in Tunisia. I had another company, another type of business, and I eventually decided I wanted to be just travel, so 13 years ago I started that. And we bring Americans all year round, maybe not so much in summer, but Americans from all over the United States. And they always say, this is a secret. Why do we not know Tunisia? And this is part of what we try and do in our tours. Unlike Europeans, our tourists are not going to the beach. They don't really come in the summer. We travel throughout, we have them go throughout the country. I'm very fortunate. I've developed a group of maybe 5 or 6 outstanding guides, really outstanding, very professional, and I'm always looking for new guides. And this to me is really cultural tourism, when you travel around the country and you meet people. So we don't stay in one hotel like in Sousse or Hammamet. We don't even go to Hammamet. I'm sorry to say for any hotel owners in Hammamet. My goal is to build wherever country we're working in, to build the tourism in such a way that the tourist is not just a tourist, they're a participant in understanding the people. And this to me is so important because, as I said moments ago in Arabic, it's many people don't understand Tunisia and they think it's like everywhere else. And for me, it's my mission to really share that. So we do many things. We'll visit someone's private home. We bring guest speakers in Tunisia to talk about different things. It could be journalism, it could be the revolution, it could be a woman who talks about cooking, it could be someone who is a woman who's wearing a scarf and a woman who's not, and they'll talk about what influences them. So we really touch on every topic about Tunisia. So when people leave at the end of the trip, they have memories that are different from other countries. And people, and our clients are from all over the United States, and people will say to me, you know, it was wonderful seeing Duga, wonderful seeing Bula Reja, but that man in the south who's a poet, or that woman who talked to us about the differences between when she lived in Saudi Arabia and then when she returned back to Tunisia, how she practiced, how religion, how women are treated. This is knowing a country. So that's really how things started, and that's how things continued. And I eventually decided to live here because I was coming to this region so frequently, it seemed much easier to be here. And I'm very fortunate because I've got such a wonderful network of friends here in Tunisia that allowed me to do more and more types of programs. Of course, in tourism, I think everyone knows, with the revolution, it completely died. And for myself, as a business person who gave up the business that I had to devote myself to Tunisia, at that point, I realized I put myself in a very difficult situation because my faith in Tunisia and the amount of money I was investing here suddenly was away and no longer happening. And I thought, how can I revive tourism here? And since I had success with doing different types of cultural tourism, I went to the tourism minister shortly after the revolution and said to him, you know, the people who I bring to the United States are very cultured, very educated travelers. And I think it would be interesting for Tunisia to let people understand what democratization is about. You're going through a process. People might read in their history books about a revolution, but very few people live through it. And the response I received, and I'll leave out the name of the tourism minister, he said, this is ridiculous. We would never want to tell people about a revolution. And I said, people who go to the beach maybe don't want to hear about it, but the sophisticated traveler who travels all around the world would find it very interesting. So we started adding to everything else, the patrimony, the history of Tunisia. And I started arranging that we would meet with people in civil society. We would meet with people from the Nida Tunis and from Enna as part of the tourism. So this was a way that people were getting to understand what a revolution is. There is no one revolution. There's no one way a revolution works. But more importantly, they were getting to know what Tunisia is. And here, it's where the so-called Arab Spring started, and the only country where things have continued in a positive way. I think everyone in Tunisia sees there are certain issues, certain fragility. The economy is definitely difficult here after the revolution, the flight of foreign investment. But Tunisians have really done, in a matter of 8 years, what Washington, D.C. doesn't do. You know, I watch the differences between Republicans and Democrats in Washington, and it really makes me sick to see that they can't talk to one another. They don't listen to one another. It's like living in two worlds. Whereas here in Tunisia, you know, in any one family, you might have someone who aligns themselves with one way and someone else aligns with the other. But at dinner, they all sit together and they're finding a way. And I personally feel, as much as some Tunisians, many of my friends, I hear them complain about this or that, I remind them that they're accomplishing something in a short amount of time that in the United States, after 200 plus years, we're still working on. So I think this is a tribute to the people here, the women in Tunisia, the educational level in Tunisia, and I think the general nature of Tunisians to kind of be patient and enjoy life. I know that Sunday is a day that most people decide to be with their family, or to go to the beach, or to do something to make it a different day. Whereas in the United States, we've gotten to the point where we're this 24/7 environment, where work doesn't stop. And I admire people here who realize there are priorities in life, and it's family and friends. And that's one of the things I love being here, that it has helped to give me a new perspective on my own life. And this, to me, is very important. As I started to describe a little bit about the development of my business and the very catastrophe we had with the revolution, I was fortunate to be able to get a project as a consultant with the World Bank. I got involved with a project with the European Union all about cultural tourism here in Tunisia. And that helped me through the period. But fortunately, things have grown, and I took Tunis USA and decided from a marketing standpoint to broaden what we do, the same philosophy of meeting people. We now have, for marketing purposes, we call ourselves Iconic Journeys Worldwide. We're doing projects in Cuba, in India, in the heart of the Middle East, in Turkey, in a variety of countries, and all of them follow this same approach that I have found to be successful. And not only have I found it to be successful, but I've been very fortunate that magazines like Condé Nast Traveler magazine have awarded me a very special honor, not just once or 2 times, but 10 times. And it's allowed me to bring certain journalists to this country who've been able to write and end up having stories that are published in the United States. So I see a lot of the role that I personally play and the passion I have for this country. It plays in my everyday life. Most recently, I had a wonderful honor that I like to think is being shared with all of Tunisians. After many years of having discussions with various people in the foreign ministry and the various ambassadors to the United States, I've always said to them, not enough people know about Tunisia. You have to get beyond Washington. You have to get beyond New York. And the suggestion was made to me many years ago about, would I like to be a consul for Tunisia, an honorary consul? So in July, I had the great honor of opening up a consulate for the Republic of Tunisia. I serve as honorary consul for the entire state of Pennsylvania, which is a very large population. And to me, this is a real honor, both for myself, but it's an opportunity to put Tunisia at the forefront. An example of that, Philadelphia, we're the 5th largest country in the United States. It's where the Declaration of Independence was signed. And we have 60 foreign consuls in Tunisia. And I've often felt when celebrities come to Philadelphia, the Pope came to Philadelphia, We have presidents and kings who come to Philadelphia. Why shouldn't Tunisia be there when the diplomatic corps is there to meet people? And now that's happening. So it's as much as my passion to promote Tunisia and do it from a tourism standpoint has been how I've been treating my life for the last 20 years or so. Now there's yet another honor which I'm just so delighted to do, and that is representing Tunisia and helping to raise its profile.